It's Oklahoma Archery. Everything archery based out of Oklahoma for Oklahomans. Let's get it started. Hello, everybody. I'm David Bosca.
And I'm Neil Cooley.
And today's guest is?
Just us.
Just us. That's right.
Nothing going on. No stories to tell. So we just wanted to hop on here and check in with everybody, see how y'all's deer season's going. It's 15 days in. Where y'all been at? Who's got daylight bucks? Who's got nighttime bucks? I think Dallas Barber chimed in on Facebook and said that the number and quality of deer checked in this state is statistically off the books this year. There have been some absolute giants hit the dirt. So shout out to everybody out there. Y'all check the Oklahoma bow hunter page to see who's coming and killing good Oklahoma deer. I know it's kind of a little slow season in archery. Dave's been hammering away at the indoor, but we just kind of want to keep it rolling.
Yeah. Well, Neil, tell us about your weekend weekday start. Man, you went out day one.
I went out day one. I'm an early October kind of guy. Done most of my good killing of whitetail deer in October. By November, it's good and cold, and the football's good, and so is the food. So I'm an early season guy. Got to go out on the opener. We had a real strange north wind, and I'm set up out of a blind over my good old trusty corn barrel. I think I've shot 30 deer off that 55-gallon drum of corn over the years. Set up on a north wind and had all the trail cam footage. Said that they were in there daylight and in the evenings. Had some good buddies say we're not going to hunt the mornings, trusting the advice of some people that kill a lot bigger deer than me, like Chris Hammond, Josh Jacobson. All those guys are like, don't get in there between the bedding and the corn and ruin breakfast. They won't come back for dinner. So hunting the evening, got a north wind, and right about go time, here comes my little small group of bucks, my spikes and my fork horns and my basket rack 6. They get to the corn, they all take turns, move in, move off, and here comes what I think was the one I'm after. The one I was after is a tall 10 with a crab claw on his right side. He's got a double throat patch, and he's named Steve. They're all named Steve. I don't know why. I'm not good at coming up with deer names like, Vlad and Mace and 8 Ball and all these other cool names. I just name the one I'm going to shoot Steve every year. So
is there an underlying message to the name Steve?
No. I had one picked out for a couple of years that I thought needed shot, and it's just what we went with. All so right. It's the going theme. Like last year, this deer's name was the double throat patch 8-point. And he'd seen me a few times. He got a little taller and a little wider. Saw him in velvet and said, that's a shooter, and really wasn't sure about it. Had some people score him. He may be in the low 20s, had a few in the mid 30s, had some of them below 120. So it's hard to judge a deer that you're looking at. You don't know if he's 3.5, 4.5. It's hard to ask him. So we had a target buck. That's always good. That's good to get you in the woods, and that's enough to get you excited. A lot of times hunting for me over the years has just been sit there till a deer comes, run an arrow through it, get him in the cooler, and go on about your day. I'm usually looking for something to throw in the crock pot. If anybody knows me, I make a pretty good deer crock pot. I'll do steaks as much as I can. I try to do jerky, but I'm not quite as good as Dave at cutting up the meat. So we do a little bit of my own processing, but not much. I'm usually just out there looking to fill the freezer like a lot of people are. But we get back on the first evening of the October season, and here comes what I think is the guy. He stands behind a little tree there, coming into the corn, just kind of looking at it. Because I say he's seen me shoot deer twice out of that blind last year and once out of the tripod. So he's seen 2 or 3 or 4 of them go down over the years that I've known about. He comes right behind a tree, turns to me. I see his little crab claw on his right side. I look at his throat patch. He's got a white spot. He's got a line. He's got another white spot down here. I said, this is go time. This is happening. So I get turned in my chair. I get my bow up. He comes out the window, walks straight towards me, about 15 yards, turns broadside and goes to the corn, leaves his leg out, takes a pause, and right behind the pin. arrow didn't go through him, hit the opposite side shoulder and stuck, and he made a big semicircle and didn't get much blood. Didn't get that exit hole. So shooting a 2.5-inch schwacker, but it hit the opposite side shoulder. It actually cut through the skin, but it just didn't go through. We tracked him. Not a good blood trail. It was a good track. Honestly, I've said before, I like tracking them more than I like shooting them. That's my favorite part. But it was we weren't seeing what we wanted to see on this tracking job. And me and my dad, he come down there. He said, "Break." I said, "It's the first year I didn't know if I'd charge my flashlight or not. I got a real good flashlight, but it's got a little port in there. I hadn't charged it all year. I didn't know how long it was going to go. I'd had my little headlamp clipped on." So got my dad down there, got a couple extra flashlights, and it was getting dark by the time. We always give him 30 minutes or so. But I knew right where my arrow hit. It didn't go through, and it was right behind the shoulder. He ended up making a big semicircle about 50 yards and piling up right by a rub on a little tree, right by a ladder stand. So that's kind of where they come from sometimes. So they go back, I guess, kind of go back where they come from. I rolled him over, and he's missing a G4 on the left side, and he's got a kicker on his right side, G2. And I'm like, I've seen a lot of pictures of this deer I'm after all summer long. He didn't have no kicker, and he definitely had a G4. So we tried everything conventionally we could to bring this deer back to life. I mean, we did CPR, we did rain dance, medicine man, witch doctor. We pulled the battery out of the tractor and electrocuted him a few times. And there's just no way that you can put the toothpaste back in the tube. So it's opening night, and I've shot the wrong deer. And I'm not saying he's not one I would have shot if I'd not been so excited. But when your heart rate's medically inconclusive and that adrenaline dump hits, you just kind of focus on the shot and pull through it. So
which one is it?
This is the one on this one. That's that deer right there. You can see on his G3 on his right side, he's got a kicker, but he doesn't have anything on the left. So that's the wrong one, man. He came in. We'd had a couple of scrapes put out. My buddy Donovan Clary with DKM Sense, he'll have you a little kit put together for your scrapes where you got doe on one side, buck on the other, and an interdigital that's in there that identifies them by the hoof print. So we'd seen quite a few bucks walk past the corn, hit the scrape, and come back to it. So I probably should have waited and let him calm down and come in and shot him at 20 instead of 15. But you show me broadside at 15 with the front leg sticking out, I'm going to run an arrow in that armpit. It's just a habit I have when deer come in, and the biggest challenge is getting your bow. You get your bow up, you get ready, and you get your bow drawn back. You're 95% sure going to get that shot off. So it was a bang bang play, but it was the wrong deer. It wasn't Steve. So I was kind of not disappointed. It was a good deer, good shot, great tracking job, everything lined up. But I just got in a hurry, and I think that's
a good deer. There's still nothing wrong with that.
He's a great deer, and he might even be older than 3.5. I'm gonna get the jawbone back pretty soon. I haven't measured him yet. He might break 120. We're not sure, but he's gonna eat good. Got him donated to one of our local families that's looking for some venison. So it was textbook play, just threw it to the wrong receiver. It happens.
Yeah.
So I was kind of down on the second. It was still 94, 95 degrees out there hunting, saw a doe, saw a couple little bucks move in and out. The wind's back out of the south, so I'm out of the tripod now. Same corn pile, just opposite side of the field. We're looking at a 40-yard shot instead of a 20-yard shot, and this is where I'd shot my buck there on the second last year. So I'd killed a good one on the first. I'd killed my big one last year on the second, and we're on the third. I'm making a little Instagram video. Hey, man, everybody out there, please wear your safety harnesses. That's my biggest thing. All of October, if you're climbing, harness up. Don't make me go to your funeral during the rut during November. I'll miss it bigger in day. I will. I'm telling you now. But it's the third. It's 94 degrees. I was texting somebody. I think Rick Gilly had chimed in. A shout out for Rick Gilly out there. He's killed more big deer than anybody I know. He's like 95 degrees. We got 3.5 months of season. I think I'd sit this one out. And I was looking on the cameras, and my big guy was still running around because, that's not the deer I shot. Came in at midnight, didn't come in the morning. So I figure evening time, he might come to the corn. You know, we got him summertime patterned all June, July, August, September, standing there in daylight. So just because it's October doesn't mean they're going to stand you up, you know, 6:30, 7 o'clock.
They eat every day.
They do. They're crepuscular. They move at dawn and dusk. This one decided to move at dusk. I heard something off to my right, staging in the trees forever. And you know, big mature bucks, they'll wait till dark to come out in a field. It's a safety move. It's precautionary. And I didn't get eyes on him until right at dark. He finally steps out into the field from the west, and the corn's back east, and it's a little further away. And I see him looking away, and he looks kind of narrow. And this deer I was after didn't have great width, but it could have been a little basket rack. He turned sideways, and I saw I had some pretty good tine length on him. Wasn't sure that it was the tall 10, could have been the tall 8, could have been the basket rack 6, but right at dark, he decides to come on out in the field straight away from me. He's got his butt to me, and I said, let's just calm down. Let's make you're going to see this deer a whole bunch this year. You know, you don't know that it's him. It's a little dark. Let's just go ahead and sit here till he eats and moves on off and try to get out without spooking him. Let's play it safe. Well, he starts walking away, got his butt to me, and stops. I can only see in the field. It's so dark. I got a 30-yard arrow sticking in the ground. I got a 40-yard arrow sticking in the ground. I can't really see the 40 anymore, but I could see the 30, and he stops right by it, finds him a piece of grass, and turns broadside. I was like, well, and then he sticks his front leg out, and I'm at full draw again. Here we go. This is happening. Put my pin on him. Did not squeeze that shot off like it should have been. We're going to give that shot a 4.5 out of 10 on execution. Just touched it off, pin right on the shoulder, and he humped up, got low, and went to getting gone. So I knew I hit him based on the sound and his reaction. I waited all 30 minutes, 40 maybe. It's plenty dark. Dad comes down with the tractor, and we're seeing gut bile. We're not seeing blood. We're seeing stomach. We're seeing chunks of corn in it. We tracked him 10 yards at the most and backed out. So that's enough gut. We're seeing little specks of blood, little spots of blood in gut. And I'd never shot one like that and seen it, but I knew what I was looking at just based on the texture of it. I've always heard when they hump up, it's gut. You're hoping for liver and back of a lung, but we made the call to let him lay. So long night for me. Didn't know exactly what deer I shot. I thought it was him. I was pretty sure it was him. I knew I shot him, but hopefully he's the right deer this time. And that's kind of where the story gets fun. We'd had Chisholm Johnson on last year from Oklahoma Blood Trackers Association. Text him. He said to get a message out there. He sent me the phone number for 2 local trackers. I sent a text to both of them. Hey, here's what time it was. 7:30. Right about dark. Confirmed gut shot. Got blood. Got corn as well. There's more corn in this poor thing's guts than there was coming out of the feeder. So long night ahead. I ended up getting called. Or text back. One of those trackers I sent had communicated back with me, and they sent me a number for a lady that lived in Yukon. The dog's name is Stella Rose. She's a wire-haired dash hound, and she called me. We text back and forth, and she eventually called me. Her name's Katie. Really, really great handler. What she told me is this dog that she has, they lived in Yukon 2 hours away. The dog had been certified, but it hadn't been field proven yet. So essentially she was wanting to bring it out on a confirmed gut shot to see what that dog would do once we got it on the trail. And I told her, I was like, we kind of want to look for it in the morning. Just, it could have been liver. It could go 200 yards, but we did bring that tractor down there. So we were assuming that he was pushed a little harder from the tractor noise than anything, but we don't know. We didn't step on it. We didn't booger up the scent, and it was going to be hot in the morning because it's the 4th of October, So she calls us and she's like, look, if you'll wait for me to get there, I will be there at first light, because the hotter it gets, the more the dog pants. And when the dog breathes out of his mouth, he doesn't breathe out of his nose. That's where they do their smelling. So it also makes the scent dissipate. So before you go tracking around on it, let me get the dog on it while it's fresh before it gets hot. And she left at 5 a.m. and got there at 7 a.m. We had the deer found probably before 8. I think we walked up
Nice. Really
before
good.
9. Oh yeah, got it on the trail. I'd left a water bottle on the last gut, and she kind of felt of it. Let the dog smell around. We started going south. We got sidetracked, but once we got on the trail, we started seeing some real good dark blood, like liver blood, is what I would assume. Anytime you get guts, you're hoping liver. They could die in 30 minutes. It could take a while, but we went about 150 yards, right over on the property line, and it was just piled up in a creek. Coyotes had skinned him down to nothing. But when we rolled him over, he was the right Steve. He was the one we were hoping for, the one we were after. So 3 days, $2. Now we're shooting does. That's my hunting season in a wrap. So I'll hats off to there's the dog right there, Stella. That's my dad. Call that dog. It's a little wiener dog. She calls her Weens. And there's his crab claw. That's a little bit better deer than the one I'd shot on the first. Like I say, you can see the arrow sticking out of him. It was just 3 inches back, a little bit low. He probably got liver on there, so we're hoping he went down, pretty quickly. But the coyote sure made off with him. You can see he's got the double throat patch. So I guess you can't rely on the double throat patch as much for shooting whitetails when you got a whole bunch of them. There's a picture of my deer on the first, the second, and the third from the last 2 years. So all you early season haters out there, or all you guys that's too hot and you're going to jump them, and if you put a play on them, you can kill your target buck in the first 3 days of the season. It can be done. 30-yard shot on that one, 15 on the other. One last year was right at 39. That one was a little bit farther of a poke, but very, very blessed to get it done. And now we get some first timers out here to kill some of their first deer. We got some buddies lined up, a couple people bringing their kids out. So, definitely want to try to share the experience with as many new hunters as we can, be the goal moving forward. But we're kind of done early, kind of anticlimactic 2024 archery whitetail season. But I don't know. Is what it is.
On those, you're going to take out a couple?
I want to take at least my 4, and I got a bunch of people I'd like to come shoot 2 or 3, opposed to feeding them all winter. We're seeing a lot of does. Not saying the ratio is too far out of whack, but I'd like to take 10 or 15 off the place real easy.
Well, you said it piled up about 150 yards out and everything. That's not too bad for a shot that was obviously a little far back. What broadheads was you poking out there?
125 Schwackers, 2.5 cut. Put a good hole in it, put it lethal on there. Everybody wants the pass through, but back in the day, I don't know if it's Fred Bear or somebody saying, I don't want no pass through. I want that broadhead doing this every time they run. Every time that shoulder kicks this way, that broadhead razor blade's just going through their insides, doing all kind of damage. So he was pretty torn up inside. I think he kept the arrow and just laid down. I bet that's where he didn't get up from. The coyotes found him, but we heard them all sounding off the night before, and they did some terrible. We need some coyote control is what we need to do, because they sure stripped him good. It was pretty raunchy. But I had a cape. I was going to European mount the first one, and I texted my taxidermist buddy. Shout out to Jimmy Hargrave, Look Alive Taxidermy out of Avant, Oklahoma. Jimmy's a heck of an archery shooter and an even better taxidermist, I'd say. And I was like, he likes the early season capes before their winter fur comes in. I said, hey, I got an extra cape for you. We got a double throat patch on him. If you want it, you're welcome to it. And a couple days later, I was like, I better use that cape on this next one I shot, because it still had the double throat patch. It just looked, if you see them side by side, it looks quite a bit different. But in the heat of the moment, I definitely mistook one deer for another. So it was one oops followed by another oops followed by, just, I guess it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, I can tell you in the summertime, first of the season, their capes are thinner because they haven't put on their winter hair, and it's probably wise. It'll stretch around, it'll do it a little easier for him. But yeah, once you get into those thick skins, man, I bet it's not real easy. Yeah. So
I felt bad. I only put one hole in the front of the throat, skinning it out. He said, you cut it from the inside or the outside? And I said, I think it's from the inside. He goes, I can fix that.
Yeah, that's right. From the outside, you open it up to where all the hairs are cut. Yeah.
Tried to donate a semi-used cape and ended up being on my own deer. But he'll hang on the wall good. We put the tape measure to him while he was still green. He went 141 2/8. So he went a little better than we all judged him on the hoof. But, to me, he was the biggest in the woods. He was the most mature. And I know he's seen me kill at least 3 deer off that corn pile. So he was slightly educated. Guess he just should have played it a little more safe. I don't know. But I like the early season stuff. I'm usually pretty excited about indoor. I like indoor the best because you see everybody. The 3D season ends and there's only a couple more events. You see these people all year long, and then it's like 2-3 months goes by and Thanksgiving, Christmas, and you don't see them until February. It's like, man, you really start to miss everybody. So indoor season is great because there's so many new people coming out and doing it. Like we have so many bow hunters coming out shooting indoor leagues. All the target guys are all, everybody's chasing deer. Everybody's, except for Dave, everybody's focused on those little critters they're trying to shoot. So you don't get the turnout from the indoor this time of year. So it's kind of slows down, but it gives the shops time to rest. I know Brent and Chris are going a mile a minute down there, Okie Land. I know Haskell's busy over at Choctaws over there the other day, and they're all lined up out the door at every archery shop right now. I don't know how Ty's going to go kill a big deer. He's probably up to his elbows still. But, you love seeing your shops busy, but you hate seeing them that busy for all of August, all of September, and feeding into October.
Yeah, coming the end of August, they're all like, keep them coming, keep them coming. But man, when October 1st hits, they're like, we're ready for a break. Yeah.
Yep.
Every single one of them are. It's a love-hate, and they love to see it come. They hate to see it go. But I tell you what, it's a lifestyle. You have to get used to it. Yeah. You see it a lot.
Well, Dave, tell us a little bit about your indoor bow tinkering. How are you settling into the new Snow Camo bow?
It's same old thing. No, it's I got what I call Snow Camo V2 version 2. I did end up with the PSE Dominator Duo X. I got lucked into it. It was absolutely crazy as quick as I got it. We ordered it. And I don't remember the dates. It's irrelevant, actually. They released it, and I think I had it 5 days or 6 days later after the official release. It was crazy. So that told me that PSE either listened or they were ahead of the game in the manufacturing side of stuff, getting ready for the release. But it worked, man. I tell you what, getting it to me was not an issue. There's some changes that I wanted. Other than that, I wouldn't have changed for my citation. I didn't think that there was anything major that I wanted. I wanted an easier shim system, and they've come out with that 220 easy, which I don't have on the citation. It was still the spacers. I'd like to have seen an adjustable grip. Well, they came out with that. The only thing that I wished they'd had, which they've not done, and that's 1/4 inch increments on draw length. Okay. I got 2 out of the 3. So I can't complain. Got it all put together. It went really fast and simple. Pretty well had a blueprint off the citation of how I wanted to set it up, but every bow's different. I mean, the feel, the limbs are a little different. They're different model limbs. One's, I think, a 971. I think this one's a 972 limb. So things do change just a little bit with that, with the dynamics of the feel in your hand. I still kept with the 30-inch front bar, 15-inch back bar. I've got 24 ounces on the back, and I had 12 on the front originally, went to 11, and now presently I'm back to 12. So I've bounced back and forth a little bit with it. Like I said, I haven't had that adjustable grip, and I went with the 4-degree initially. And I liked it. I probably shot it 2.5 weeks with the 4-degree grip. And this weekend I switched to an 8-degree, and I think I kind of like that. What I was catching myself doing Sunday while I was shooting is I'd catch myself torquing the bow just as I got to full draw. I could just see in my cage, if I'm looking at the cage, I could start to see it like this, and I could just see the inside of the front of the cage. And I'm like, what is going on? And sure enough, I was torquing the bow. Well, I went to that 8, and the angle it put my hand, it took that away. So I was getting a little bit too low in it, and I was torquing it low. And when I'd go to push hard, I think I was doing just a little bit of this. And there was a multiple reasons why it all stemmed from draw length. I had the draw length set. I really liked it. Saturday I went and shot, and it was not par for me at all. I did not like it. So I got home. I was sitting in front of the television watching some ball games, took my loop off and put a longer loop on. Sunday I got up there and I couldn't make my release go off. It wasn't working. And I think everything was hypered because of that. Then I started trying to outstretch, trying to make it go off. I ended up cutting the loop one time while I was there, and it shortened it up, but it was kind of now in between the start and where it was. But I think I just kept, obviously I kept torquing it. I got to my shop Monday morning and I could tell I ended up cutting the loop one more. I'm probably back where I started now. Who knows? But it's not torquing. I did go to the 8 degree. I played with the arrow tips on it. I love my 2712s. I've been shooting 300s tips. I found the node, and I've got it tuned out perfect. I will either be in the bottom of an X and the node or the bear shaft to be to the side, or vice versa. It's as good as I can hold. I can't hold any better than that. And that bear shaft is hitting within the inside of a 10 with the flexed shaft. So that's all I can do. I can't hold any better than that. And don't get me wrong, I don't hold it like that every time. It's just when it is right, I know where it's flying. I played with the 250 tips. I played with the 225s, and I'm sticking with the 300s. It's just something about them. I don't know if it's my draw length. I don't know if it's the arrow length. I don't know if it's the way that I get after it on the release side. I don't know, but I just like those 300s. They seem to be working for me, and so I'm going to stick with them.
Sounds like a plan. If it's working,
Yeah.
you can test and tinker.
Yeah, that's right. I got 3 empty shafts right here that I'm going to play with a little offset on the vanes. I'm going to see if I'm going to do one arrow. I'm going to see if I can get clearance. And if I do, I might go. I don't think it's going to change. I don't even think it'll get me one point. But it's in my head. I just want a little offset. Right now I'm just straight as can be. And so I'd like to try a little offset just to do it more than anything else. Because I'm shooting a blade, so I don't want to go too far offset, but I just want to try it. Yeah. I did put the smallest aperture in my peep. I kept getting ring to ring wasn't right. And when my draw length went long, I really noticed it. So I put the smallest aperture they have, and I think that's going to help. I do.
I bet it will. I say everybody out there picking out new bow colors is doing it based on what arrows they got and what their favorite is. And Dave goes with the white bow just to see if that vein is leaving plastic on the white riser. It contrasts very nicely.
Yeah, it does. It definitely is something that's crazy, but I just like the white. It just has always been there. If it wasn't white, generally it was red. But now I like these white bows. I do like them. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But the bow itself is nice. They've cut out a little bit up around the handle on the caged part compared to the old Dominator. I held one, but I never shot one. And it is cut out more than what my Citation had. So I like that. They've put a stiff, solid bar cable slide on it. I like a roller slide, so I put that on the bar instead of the old-fashioned slider that they had.
Mm-hmm.
I did change strings out. I went with ABB custom strings.
Did you super glue them?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All over
I had the
serving?
strings a week before I had the bow.
So he'll take gloves and put on gloves, take the strings out, rub it just on the servings, right?
Serving.
Just the servings, end loops, serving, center serving,
Yep.
cable hitting serving.
Everything. super glue them, hold them together, and zero serving separations. I've never had serving separations. I shot a set of strings on that citation 5 years, 6 years. I don't even remember. Yeah, there was no serving separation anywhere.
So everybody out there, tag your serving manufacturer in the comments
Oh,
below.
they're gonna love you.
Can we get some experts to weigh in on this, please? We get Shane Teal. We get Wizard Labs with the Pikowskis out of Florida. Let me get Bryce Talley out of Summit Bowstrings out of Texas. We get Robert Ingram on here. I want to hear from some of these string manufacturers on the ins and outs of super gluing your servings in place.
And that all started back years ago. I used to have a serving jig, and it was that green. It was a green something. I couldn't tell you. But when I would make strings, I would put contact cement underneath it, which is a thick gel type product, and I'd serve on top of it. And that's how that all got started. I used to put just good old contact cement under my serving. Yeah.
I love it. I've seen Dave had a lot of issues on the line, but separation of serving has never been one.
No.
Me, I'm over here chewing through servings like I'm paid to do it on a couple of bows. So you get the best of both worlds on the Oklahoma Archery Podcast.
That's right. Either the craziness or the non-craziness. So, but as far as just all around testing, I'm not going to get stupid with this bow. It's, I picked it up. It's right on. So I'm good with it. Just going to shoot it. I'm trying to teach myself some of the things that, I'm getting old. I'm not too far from getting into the 60 plus class. So I've only got a year and a half left where I'm at. So dude, I don't have much time. My muscles don't hold up or heal like they used to. So, I'm going to just shoot it and be done with it.
I think that's part of where the physical game of archery intersects with the mental game, learning to be content with shooting good scores and not tearing your bow down. We've all seen the pros shoot a good. Tim Gillingham, going into the shoot off was tearing axles off of bows and switching bows and putting them together with new cams and goes to the shoot. It doesn't have to be like that for everybody else out here. We all got day jobs. It's a hobby. Keep it fun. But I think Dave's probably done more extensive testing on setups than a lot of people will ever know about or do. And
I'm just going to tell you, the one that makes the most difference is yourself and your shot execution. If 7 years ago, when I was in my young 50s, if I would have spent more time on learning shot execution and learning how to shoot a back tension, I'd be 10 times ahead of where I'm at right now. I just absolutely thought what I was doing was great. I absolutely thought that I could get scores by testing and tuning and changing. And was it educational? Absolutely. Did I learn a lot? Absolutely. But I feel like now, looking back, if I would have switched to a back tension when I was in my young 50s versus this year, I think I'd be so far ahead, it'd be unreal. Yeah.
It takes some years with the hinge to get it.
I absolutely will agree with that. Yes.
2 to 3, as long as you don't switch. Every time you switch, restart the counter. and that goes for adjustments and click versus no click too. So start the counter over 2 years, get familiar with it, learn it, love it, live it, breathe it, leave your button at home. Don't switch between the two.
You shoot with a click?
Not right now. Not on my target bows. The button was for hunting, and we are back to the hinge, no click, HBC small set.
HBC small.
Yep.
Hinge, no click. Okay.
Yep.
I've got the HBC medium with a click, and I've actually got the fast click in it.
Yep. If you're gonna shoot a click, shoot the fast click.
I like the fast click.
HBC. We can all agree on that. Blake Jerome told me to do it personally. I think Sly even tested it, so it's pretty much expert approved. It's an age old debate: click versus no click. Why would you want to know when it's going to go off when it's designed to not let you know when it's going to go off? So, I don't know. Some people ride a motorcycle with a helmet. Some people don't. It's the same. It could be bad. How bad do you want it to be? That's the only thing you want to know.
It's a trust issue. It is.
Yeah.
And I trust the way that I hold my hand. I trust the way. So, but I'm using it. The click isn't, it's getting ready to go off. It truly is. I'm using it as a point to where when I draw back and then I get my hand and I pressures and then I'm like, okay, I start this click. Okay, now I'm there, and then it's all back from there. But so it is a starting point for me. It is that true saying that you hear people talk about. Well, I use it as a starting point. Well, it really is. And I didn't understand that until recently. Then I realized that's the proper way to use it. And ever since I've really enjoyed it. I haven't even considered going back to a index finger, not even in the likings of it. I like the way that this produces.
It's a better pull on the back end for me. And I think
Yeah.
you can do as much testing with a 2-finger or a 3-finger, just as sometimes 4. It changes where that back muscle engages. So
Yeah.
I was having a lot of wrist pain drawing my bow with my 2-finger B3. I put that 3rd finger back on there and it quit popping. So I was pretty a little overbowed for hunting season, and just wrap that 3rd finger back around that B3 Omega Mini, and it quit. It was popping at full draw, and I lose sensation in my hand. So kind of makes you scared. I was talking to Wendell Smith about that. He said, yeah, I had to get a wrist strap just because it was so much draw weight. It would basically pop, like early onset carpal tunnel or something. I don't know, but wasn't comfortable, and your hand would kind of go numb right as you went to full draw. And I was like, I don't want to let this thing go. That release is heavy. Comes smack you in the back of the hand and run it through the riser of your bow. So you can do a lot with just changing how many fingers you put on the release.
And I'm going to tell the one thing I've learned more than anything else playing with that loop in the last weekend is it changed the position of my back elbow so much. You know, I've kind of heard other people talk about this, but I didn't truly understand it. I felt like I was a little lower, but I had nowhere to go backwards because I was already so far back that I had no expansion. I couldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So by shortening it back up, I feel like when I first pull back, I feel like I'm in front, but then by the time it gets ready to go, I know that's really overshowing it. But then my elbow is back, and then that's when it fires. So I was overextended to even begin the shot, and I could not make it go off. And that's where I think I believe at first, a year or two back when I first got started on them, I think that's what I was probably doing. I thought I had to have the draw length at this point, and I was already too far back, and then I couldn't make it go off. So I stood there and shook. Then I'd give it up. Well, I'm shooting this bow the shortest I've ever shot a bow. I mean, the shortest I've ever shot it, and it's now allowed me to be up farther closer, and now I've got room to move. I am at 32-inch draw lengths on this bow. That's the shortest I've shot a bow in probably since 2000, 1990s, with some eccentric cams I used to have. But all my present bows when I was shooting them was either 32 3/4, 33, 33 1/4. I'm at 32 dead nutted right now, and this thing is working. And it's because I think I was too far back. And how does anybody judge you that way? They're not standing there holding it. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So man, that's I would say that'd be my clue for everybody is like, look, give it, make it feel short for 2 weeks. If it's fine after the first 2 weeks, then you can make it go off. Leave it. I like it. I like it a little shorter. Yeah.
I say before you give up on a draw length setting, try your loop shorter and longer, and then shorter again, and see if that makes it pull and hold just a little better. Change the angle of what's going on.
Yeah, the draw length was set, and the front end was fine. It was the back end that was feeling long. The front end, I could still get my extension on my arm. Nothing moved off my face. Everything stayed. As I pushed, it stayed. I wasn't kicking my head in, and it was all on the back end. So when I had 32, everything stayed. When I was at 32 3/4, I did, but I realized I was in that lean back world, making it shoot. Then whenever I was trying to learn that back tension, I was all the way back. I didn't have anywhere to go. So yeah.
It's part of the game.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of people out there don't know how much you can do with what you already have. Just change your mechanics a little bit. I got to talk to some high level people about that last night. So we got to, change some stuff up. You never know how a bow will perform until you change everything about you. Trust your shot process, stick to your guns. You know how to do it, but don't be afraid to try it a different way. You might see some good results.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to me, it's most of my bad shots stem from this right here and this right here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the chain in between, when it gets weak, it's got to do generally with one of those two. So, yeah, that's
So
why
we
I'm
should
looking.
probably tell everybody where they can shoot some indoor coming
There
up.
you go.
I say we got a whole bunch of leagues started up. Traditions over in Yukon is doing an indoor league now on, I think, Tuesdays. Shout out to Ken over there, Archery Traditions. He's been a great resource. He gets a lot of people shooting. Oakeyland's also got their Tuesday night for your down south metro crowd. Starting those at
7 sounds right.
7
Yep.
on Tuesdays.
I was going to try and get down there, but the world just intervenes, and I just never got in. So I'm going to try and make some of his Wednesday night things.
Yeah, he should be starting his Wednesday night Vegas jackpots up soon. We should have the live stream stuff going for the podcast by then. So you'll be able to sit home and watch, but we encourage you to come out and participate.
Pizza.
Even if you don't shoot, bring some binos. You can spot arrows for us and let me know if that hung an 8 or if it's a 7.
And
Arrow Shop in Dewey.
Yep. I'm sure he's got something coming on here pretty quick.
Yep. I know the Tulsa Archery Association guys are getting together there on Tuesdays to shoot. Miles and Kelly at the Arrow Shop are doing Thursday nights. I don't know if I think it's a jackpot. I'm not sure if it's a jackpot.
Jackpots on Thursdays.
Okay. So you guys got from Tulsa all the way up to Dewey. You got all the way down Arrowhead, Oakeyland. Oh yeah, Arrowhead's doing their league and they're doing their women's league again.
Yes, they got women's league going on. And then Tom Stevenson's going to do his league, starts November 1st.
Yes, Tom Stevenson, you're supporting your local bow hunters, letting you all get your deer killed in October before his league starts in November. So contact Tom. He's with the Oklahoma Storm Joad team. He's the creator of Archery Path, been on the podcast a couple times. Be sure and hit him up about his indoor league he's doing as well. That's going to start just in a couple weeks. Trying to think, do we forget anybody else on the indoors? We got
G2 started anything.
G2's not. He's going to be hunting deer. Once we're all done deer hunting, you can plan on G2 doing some jackpot nights again.
Okay.
Got to see them here pretty recently. So we got indoor seasons kicking off. Y'all go get your deer hunted, hopefully successfully. Public service announcement: wear your safety harnesses.
Did I see something about one of the collegiate courses is doing a 3D?
Might be Johnny King out of Connor State.
I think that's it.
Yeah, they are
doing something still.
Check the Connor State team page. They might be doing their fall. It's a half paper, half 3D thing. It's kind of for everybody. Okay. Kids are all put together on there, so it's a good kind of exposure and a recruitment event for the college. So keep an eye on that. You never know. Johnny King is always doing something for kids shooting archery, so keep an eye on that. If you're not part of that page, go follow along. Give them a like and a share. They just had some kids come back from collegiate nationals with some hardware. Shout out to everybody that went Foley in the rain. They let their collegiate kids come shoot their nationals out there, and they just got drenched on. So, shout out to everybody shooting when the weather's not good. It's just like hunting when the weather's not good. If you show up, you might have your best day ever. So,
well, I can't think of anything else. Let's see. There is one other thing that we want to bring up.
We've baited them for 44 minutes now. I think we better go ahead and tell them.
Yes. Neil, what is the big announcement?
I'm going to be shooting a dart and bow this coming year. I got picked up from G2 and Scott Hamlin, and they really had some big ideas for us for what we're doing, not only here at the podcast, but with the ASA here in the state. So I was going through some tuning issues, some recurring tuning issues. And man, I saw a lot of people shooting Dartons. I saw a lot of people shooting them, and I'd shot the Sequel 33 and I'd shot the Exodus as their flagship shoot through target model. And I really liked both. Shout out to Kyle Anderson and Sly Cooper and everybody that had a bow close to 28 inches that let me shoot it for probably hours over the last couple of weeks. I've been a Hoyt shooter since probably 1994.
Yeah, we're not saying that you outgrew that or kick it to the curb. The opportunity has arose that allows you to grow where you want to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's having somebody like Scott Hamlin on the other end of the phone you have infinite possibilities. I mean, he's a say yes kind of guy and figure out how to support you later. Like you're just getting a level of support with this. And it's not just Darton, it's Conquest and Black Eagle also. They all work together in conjunction with each other. So I'm so excited about these new bows. I'm excited to be able to tell people how easy they are to work on. And I have people haven't heard from me recently. I've been elbow deep in some cables and some cams down there at G2 and got this 35 sequel just humming in probably a couple hours in the last day or two. You know, it didn't take a whole lot to get it to tune. It's incredibly easy to work with. And it feels so good in the hand. I'd like the grips really well, and they didn't change anything about that on the riser. It's the same grip, just with a couple of updated cam systems and some new features. So y'all go check those, check the videos out. We'll let PJ do the review videos. If you haven't seen the Lancaster, you know, we'll probably try to link them in the comments down below. But PJ was hitting a dot with that Sequel 35 with no back bar at 100 yards, and it took him all of 7 or 8 arrows to do it. So shout out to PJ Riley, just laying dots at 100 yards. Y'all go see it. I got my hands on one. I've got another couple models coming once the order goes in. So if you want to test one, give me a message. I had one of my buddies, Chris Spivey, hit me up. He's like, "You gonna do some more videos? I'm interested in one." I said, "Come on over and shoot it, man." Well, he's got big old long arms, so we'll put it in his draw length and you know, kind of just, if you want to shoot one, I highly encourage it. You know, I'm pretty easy to go talk to. If you see me out there and you want to fling an arrow, come on down, man. I want to share it with some people.
And I want all the PSE shooters out there, both of you, I want y'all to realize that we did change the module on my bow, my PSE, just so Neil could shoot it. You know, I had to give it a try. So
y'all don't realize how when you shoot different people's bows that peep sights are not set to your height, it changes everything about it. So before you think a bow doesn't shoot, try a different peep sight height, because the push and pull based on how it's balanced, like Dave's peep sight's way up here, Sly's is down here. Like, so every bow's different at what peep you're looking through, like the height of it. So do some tinkering with that. I know it's a booger when it starts twisting and stuff, but that bow might perform altogether different than you'd experienced if you just get a little bit of tinkering. I mean, peep sight height and draw length. Rick Gilly's 75 years old. He's still changing his pretty much every other week. And there's a reason for that. If you look at some of these high level guys that know how to make a bow hold good, make a bow follow through good. Yeah. It's a huge part of it, but super, super excited. Thank you again, Scott Hamlin and Ryan at G2. Ryan's he is still a dealer for those 3 brands. If you all need anything from him, he'll help you out. He's really wanting to focus G2 on being an academy. So he's wanting to focus on the lessons, the academy side of that. Got to work with him a little bit last night, just on some small stuff. And he is a wealth of information. It doesn't matter if you've been shooting a bow for 6 days or 30 years. He can put something in between your ears that's going to do good for you when you score arrows.
Cool.
So
cool.
Shout out to those guys for, you know, getting behind what we're trying to grow and trying to build. And it's just good to have some support on the other end. And I'm not as tech savvy as a bow tech as I should be for as much as I shoot. So having a bow that's easy to work on yourself and you don't necessarily need all the bells and whistles is going to hopefully take my scores in the right direction, you know.
Yeah. And congratulations, Neil. That is great. That is great.
Appreciate you. I've liked everyone else's that I've shot so much that I had to go get a couple of them. So we're testing, we're tinkering, we're tuning. If anybody sees me out there and I'm running around, you know, kind of not knowing like I know what I'm doing, it's probably because I don't know what I'm doing, but I know something needs fixed. So I'm tuning. Disclaimer to everybody out there: if you catch me in the middle of it, I'm probably frantic. I'm okay. I guarantee you. It's just probably confused and flustered like I am most of the time. So everybody out there, go give them a try if you're looking for something new. All the ones last year were great bows, and I liked them real well. They made a 33 into a 35 with a faster cam. They made the target bow have a short draw mod for guys like me. They're 28 and a half draw length. You can be at the end of that cam as far as getting top level performance. So, man, there's just so much out there to be excited about, and just really, really happy to be here.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I got to visit with Scott several hours last year at a shop when they had their promotion. I think it was the weekend y'all was having a state championship. And super, super nice and so knowledgeable. Man, it was, I enjoyed visiting with him. Yeah.
We got to tinker and tune with him on the new 35. We were trying to set it up more like a target bow, and then we realized it's built more like a 33. So we started kind of swapping bars on it just a little bit and tinkering around with some front and back weights and set it up more like a 33 than the 37 would be my initial advice on the 35. But it's super dead in the hand. You're going to like the cams. It's maxed out 60 to 70 pound bow. I'm shooting indoor with it. I think it's right under 70 pounds. I think 69 is what it topped out at. But it's shooting a indoor length 27 with huge veins and 150 grain point. I think it smoked it out at 264, 265. So I'm going to shave about 50 grains off that arrow and probably run it for 3D. Never been able to get the speed to shoot a 27, but I see a lot of the top level guys do it. And it's like, well, at 28 inches, we'll see how much speed we can get out of it. But I think it's going to be, mid 70s for sure. And I shoot known distance anyway. So that's not doesn't have to be 299 for me at the women's tee.
All right. Cool. Well, all right, bud. Congratulations. We'll get this thrown out there for everybody to look and listen to. Neil, you got anything else?
Doesn't matter if you're shooting deer or shooting dots. Go do it. Come see us.
I like it. Y'all be good. Take care.